everybody, it's Sally from Sally Stampers. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you this cute little gift box, book box. I can't think what else to call it, but it is simply that, excuse me. And as you can see inside it's got some little tea lights and it is just shaped just like a box when you close it up. I thought this was really cute and as you can see it was quite easy to make really. I've decorated this one with the snowflake sentiment, so I've stamped the inside there and on the outside so that it would show through both sides, and then obviously I've decorated the front with the snowflake sentiment dies that go with it. My brain's gone, I do apologise, can't remember what they're called. So swirly snowflake thinlets, I think that's what they're called. So yes, so as you can see I've added that, and then I've just heat embossed here with a mixture of white and dazzling diamonds on the sentiment, which I'm hoping you can just pick up glittering there. So yeah, eagle-eyed of you might notice that I did actually put this on wonky when I put it on, and I was absolutely distraught because it really does spoil it because it's been put on not straight, but hey ho. So I'm going to make another one, but I'm actually going to make this slightly different. So I'm using cherry cobbler this time. I'm not going to do any stamping, but there is a little bit of die cutting. So you need 2 sheets of cardstock. One is 8 3/4 by 8 3/4 and the other one is 11 by 6. So with the 8 3/4 by 8 3/4, you just simply go across and score 1 inch and 2 inch on all 4 sides. Simple as that. Just spin round, 1 inch, 2 inch, spin it round. And that's it, simple. So as with all of them, we're going to fold and burnish all of those score lines. This cherry cobbler is actually out of the 12 by 12 pack that is in the autumn winter catalogue. It is just a specific pack of cherry cobblers, so it's ideal if you want to make a few of these. So there's the scoring and burnishing done. And all you need to do on this one is you need to cut down, keep in mind which you want to be, say the top and the bottom and the sides, because it just makes it a bit easier. Obviously it's a square, so there's no that has to be. So I'm just going to start down here and I'm going to cut down that side, cut down the centre of the 2. I'm just going to cut a little wedge out of that as I cut that one away. Top half of that one. A little wedge here and a wedge on the tabs, and that's it. So you do the same again this side, so cut down the 2 down to the horizontal line. We cut this one away with a little wedge and we cut the top of that one away. We cut a little wedge out of here, and I mean a little wedge, you don't need a lot, and then your wedges out of your tab, and then you turn it round so that you've got those at the top, and we do exactly the same again. So you cut down the 2 like that, cut this one away with a little bit of a wedge, cut the top half away, and then we have wedges. Just like that. Oops. And the last one, down the 2, remember your wedge, take that one off, remember your wedge, and then 2 wedges. If you keep saying to yourself, remember your wedge, you'll probably remember it, just like I did then. Okay. So obviously this is before you do all of your scoring, that is when you would do your stamping, and as I said you would stamp both sides. You don't really need to stamp too much in the centre because that's where it's going to be adhered into your book, but certainly around the sides you would need it, and then obviously on the insides again more in the centre because these are going to be tucked under. So flip it back over onto its belly then, and I'm just going to use some of my fuse if it works. and I'm just going to pop some on my tabs, and then before I do any more I'm going to flip it over and run it, oh for goodness sake, come on, underneath that one. So the tabs are on the belly, the inside tabs are on the back, if that makes any remote sense. So put them together as you would your normal boxes. So we put our corners in place, and then, oops, you do get a bit stuck with this one, a bit tacky because obviously there's bits of glue everywhere. I'm going to stick that one on there, and then with these you just simply tuck them in. Just work your way round, tuck each one in, and then obviously you can just then go round once they're all in place just with a bit of a firmer hand and make sure they're all stuck down. And there's your box. Now I'm not putting tea lights in mine this time. I'm going to put these in, the little mini reindeer merry teasers. I love these, my son loves these, but I just thought they fit lovely in there, and it's just one little pack. There are, I want to say there's 5, oh dear, yeah, there's 5 inside, just a nice little bag, so I just thought they'll sit nicely in there. So I'm just going to pop that for one side. So then we need to bring in our book, and like I said, this is 11 by 6, and we simply need to score this one at 5.5 and 6.5. So 5.5 and 6.5. That doesn't look right at all, does it? Bear with me, that doesn't look right at all. Where's this one? Let's get this one out. The original. No, it should have been 5 and 6, not 5.5. Silly me. Bear with me a second, I just need to recut that piece of card now. I didn't think that looked right when I did it. So we'll just grab my fairy cobbler, and so I need to cut this one. Yes, that's right. 11 by 6. 11 by 6. Let's move all this out of the way, and then we'll score at 5 and 6. That's better. There we go. Forget that last bit happened. Right, so we score it at 5 and 6, and then obviously all we really need to do here is just to fold, burnish and adhere it to your box. But I want to decorate this, and it's best to decorate it while it's flat like this, because obviously you can add more pressure onto your desk. So I have my little bits here that I've cut some out in preparation. I'm going to tip them out. So I'm using Santa's sleigh framelets for this one. So I have Santa's sleigh, I have the additional fancy bit, I have some little stars, and then I have my latch bit that sits on top, and then I have my other bit that locks through it. So my latch piece is 4 inches by 1 inch, and I've just used the envelope punch board to round the edges here, and likewise on this one. This is again 1 inch by 3.5. It doesn't massively matter how long it is, it's just so that it's enough to tuck under the box and to stick round the top. So that's those 2 pieces. I've kept this bit separate because I just want to show you how I'm going to do that bit, but let's adhere this lot on first. So my little latch bit, what I wanted to do with this one was just to curve it just a tiny amount, just so that it will sit up just ever so slightly when I stick it on. You can see there's just a very slight bend. It just stops the card and the glitter paper when you're trying to force it under and it looks damaged and messed, so it just makes it a bit easier. So I just simply add some fuse onto the corners of that, and then again, I suppose in some ways I'm eyeballing this. Just make sure that it's quite dark actually in here. I'm hoping that you can pick that up. It's just make sure that I'm eyeballing it to make sure it's centre or you can put it on your grid mat. And obviously this is the centre line here, so I'm quite happy. I'm not putting it right on the edge of the card because I don't think it would look right there. So I'm just going to stick that on there. My stars have already been die cut and have the multi-purpose adhesive sheet on the back. So I just need to try and get the backing off, which clearly is easier said than done. Oh, there we go. And I'm just going to use my piercing tool just to put these in place, because I just want to put a star on each end so that they will almost act like a button. Come on, there we go. Oh no, I think I just pulled the whole thing off here. Oh no, there we go. That size better. There we go. And I'm just gonna stick him on there. So that's him done. You then need to take the back off your sleigh, which hopefully will be easier to get off. No, maybe it's not. Come on. And it's always the same, when you want this to come off it doesn't, and when it does come off it's generally when you don't want it to. Let's see if we can, there we go, got it off the bottom there. So as you can see, I'm just peeling that off there, and I'm going to stick this about here. So there's my Santa's sleigh, and yes, it is slightly sloping. That's because I'm going to put the reindeer going slightly up hill. That's my theory anyway. And then this is the decorative bit to go over the sleigh. I should have prepped this a little better, shouldn't I, so that we could at least get this off without all this fiddling. But I think I've got this one. Have I got this one? Come on. There we go. So as you can see, it's just a piece of film that's on the back that you just peel off, and then I'm just going to lay this hopefully in the right place. Is that going to sit nicely? Yes, there we go. So that just sits on the top there. That's very pretty. Let's stick some of these stars on. So, oh, here we go. Look, that one came off very quickly, and I'm just randomly going to stick these on. I don't really mind where these go too much. And I'm not adding a sentiment to this one either, because I think if you give this to someone as a child, they could keep it as, you know, either a little decoration or as a keepsake, and it doesn't necessarily want to have Christmas on it all the time, even though obviously there's a Christmas pattern. I think that's quite nice, and you could actually add your own Christmas sentiment inside, or you could put it on the inside of the lid. You could put it anywhere really. So there's that bit. So I'm going to put that to one side because I want to show you the multi-purpose sheets. If you've not used them before, they are amazing. So, or you get your sheet, and it actually comes this size. So they're pretty good sizing. I've used a lot of this one, so that's why it's cut smaller. And all I simply do is I find the piece that I want. So obviously I've cut it out, and I'm fairly happy that that's the right size for my reindeer. Lift the peel up, but don't touch this adhesive because it will stick to you and it won't work. There's a tiny little lip at the bottom here that you can use, and I just put my cardstock up to that and put the top back down. And if you hold it up to the light, which you can just see, I then cut along where my glimmer paper was. So I'm not wasting any that's not stuck to my card. And then I run across that way. That will just come off. I have a little extra bit here that I'm going to cut off because I don't want it stuck all over my big shot. And there is that. Bring in my big shot, if I can get that stuck off my hand. Bring in my big shot here. And do it this way, and then you can see. So I just pop my card down as I would normally. I put my die over the top as I would normally. Just run it through in your sandwich, Now I generally do it twice just to ensure with this, because obviously there is going to be another fraction thicker underneath. So I'll just move that out of the way. And then it just pops out as it would your normal die. You might need to help it a little bit, and if there's bits of the stuff that hasn't cut through, then you can just sort of give it a bit of a tug, as long as it's not a delicate die cut. If it's delicate, you might want to take a little bit more time. And then obviously you just then want to stick him on. Now as you can see, some of this has already come off when I pulled him out. It pulled some of it off his leg, but that's fine because I'm sticking it down straight away, and I'll use that as my leverage to pull it off. And then I'm just going to stick him on there. And I did have the idea, and I don't know how well this is going to work, of using some of my thread to join the two together. And I'm just going to use a tiny piece of my metallic thread, and then I'm going to tuck one end. In fact, no, I'm not, because that would look silly. It's stuck to his tail. I leave it like that. Okay, so we just need to put our little clasp on, and then adhere our boxes up. So, covered in glitter. So obviously you need to ensure, sorry about my dogs, you need to ensure your box is central, and then obviously you need to make sure wherever you're going to put your tab is central. So again, if you want to measure it, you can. This is where I went wrong before and eyeballed it. So let's spin it round. There's the 3 mark that I've just marked, just there. So I'm simply going to add some fuse over the bottom there and just stick it in place. And then for my box base, to stick this on, I use tear and tape, because I don't want to be pushing my fuse onto this, because I'm worried that it's not going to hold, it's going to wreck my box. So I'm just going to simply get my tear and tape and just run it across the sides. Now you can put it on all 4, or you can just put it on 2. It depends what you're having inside it. Now mine's only got light chocolates inside, so I don't think it will matter too much. My dog's barking. So I'm just going to peel the backing off. Come on, play the game. There we go. And again, make sure that you're happy that it's lined up where it should be. And then stick it down. I apologise for my dog. She's so unruly. Pop the chocolates in, or your candles, or whatever it is you're using. Pop her over, and then you just curl this round and tuck it under. And if you've measured it right, which I clearly haven't on this one, it will sit nicely. You can always trim that down or add yours a bit higher up. You might need to refold this as well, or re-burnish it. But there's my little box. This one's popped undone as well, look. You could always add Velcro to these as well. That might be a nice idea. But as you can see, those are my 2 boxes. I'm going to trim this one down a bit, I think, just so that you can see the pretty pattern underneath. And I can still use the envelope punch board to adhere it. But there you are, my 2 little boxes containing chocolates or tea lights. I do hope you've enjoyed them. Sorry for all the calamity and the noise with the dogs. All the details will be on my blog, and all the measurements and everything that I've used will be on there too. Hope you've had a great day, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!